Hi, everybody. Could I have your attention, please? Thank you for being here tonight. And if it hadn't been for Fester, we wouldn't be here. And so what I'd like to do is start by saying every one of you were friends of Fester's, and thank you for showing your support and coming out tonight. I'm Ken Cartwright, and this young lady over here is Starla Becker, who put this together. Starla, raise your hand. Thank you. How many people in this room knew Fester before May of 1980? And Paul. Margaret and Paul. I met him in 1980. We're very, very honored to have Fester's sister here tonight, Margaret, and her husband, whose name I forgot again? Ron. Ron, thank you. Margaret, would you stand up so everybody can see you? And a long trip for you, and thank you for making it down here. Every person in this room loved Fester, had a big connection with him. As you know, he really affected a lot of people. And he had the ability to put a smile on your face, a tap in your toe, and he had the worst jokes in the world. Well, he learned a few from me, but I share mine with the whole world too. So. I think before I get started, I want to introduce a longtime friend of Fester's, and I've known this man for a long time, and he's been a huge support of Fester. He won't talk to this, but I will. And many times, as Fester went through his 5 cycles of life, which he did, he needed help getting up. And the one person that I know that helped him all 5 times and was a good friend and a mentor is Glenn Damewood. Glenn? So I can tell a lot of stories about Fester, most of them not clean. I would like to share a couple of things. All the years, every time I needed somebody to come play for anything, he always would do it. And some money was good, no money was okay, whatever it was. But he never got angry with me a few times, but he never did not do what he said he was going to do. Ken mentioned his battle, the five tries to make himself well. He had been about 3 months on one. This is one of my favorite stories, and they were the Sunday Night Jam in Sublimity, which he hosted for over 10 years. 13 years now, yeah. And anyway, he was in there, and I had the bartender send him a shot glass with Pepsi in it over to the thing, and she set it down and said, "This is from Glenn." And he gets up and walks over to me and says, "Damn it, I'm trying very hard not to drink. I'm not drinking." And I go, "It's Pepsi, you dipshit." so after that, it was customary until it changed again, but it changed back. Every time we were anywhere, I'd buy him a shot of Pepsi. He'd slug it down. Fester gave a lot of young kids lessons and taught a lot of people how to play guitar besides played nursing homes. He just did a lot of really good things and some not so good things, and I was proud to be his partner on some of each. So he'll be missed, and hopefully I'll get to pick with him someday again, but not soon. Thank you.
I'm sure every person in this room has a Fester story or two. And I'd like to share a few with you. And I'll start with myself here. I met Fester in 1980, May of 1980, just before Mount St. Helens. That's why I know so specifically. And Fester and I had a mutual friend in McMinnville by the name of Joe McKenzie. And Joe's son, Joey, who is a world-class musician, was the reason that I got to know Fester. You had to know Joe in order to know Joey. And Joe was, I'm going to be very careful, I want to be nice, he's dead now, but he was quite the guy. And when I first met Joe, I'd moved to McMinnville a few months earlier, and Joe called me up and wanted to know why in the hell I hadn't been to his house yet. Only as Joe would say. And I said, well, you know, I'm still getting settled in. I've got my repair shop just about set up. He said, well, come on over. I want to show you my instruments, and I got a friend over here I want you to meet. So I went to Joe's house, and his wife, Helen, was just the sweetest thing, just completely opposite of Joe. He was a loudmouth redneck from Arkansas, and you're damn sure going to know it. He bragged, you know, he started telling stories about killing bear. And when he first started telling me this story in 1980, it was 256. 25 years later, it was up to around 390, and I know he hadn't been hunting. So he was quite a character, but I got a chance to sit and pick some music with Fester, and we had a great time. It was instant love for both of us. We just really admired each other's style and had a chance to catch up a little bit and find out where he was raised and what he'd been doing, and he was just recently getting serious about bluegrass music. He was playing folk and country, and he was real excited about learning how to play bluegrass music. Well, Fester and I became quick, instant friends. We had a lot to share. In those days, I was smoking pot and drinking a lot, but so was he. And so we were a good fit. In fact, at Joe's house that day, he had about 1.5 pounds of weed. He took us both back into the bedroom and said, roll one. And Fester said, the whole thing? Well, I gave that all up in 1986, really cleaned up, and it was good because I was a mentor for him. So when he would fall off, the wagon, he'd So anyways, we became really good friends, and he spent a lot of time in my music store, and we got to pick and share stories, and I would hold his hand, so to speak, when he fell down. Sure gonna miss that guy. Enough of me. Let's move on to some other folks here. This comes from Craig Randall, who has become a good friend and has been going to the jam since Sublimity. And he says, I'm sorry I can't attend Fester's memorial tonight, but I'm really ill. When I first decided to attend the jam at the Wood Nickel, I was quite intimidated by the quality of musicians that I heard playing there, and especially by Fester, who was not only a good guitar player and singer, but was totally comfortable in his position as chairman of the group. But looks were deceiving. He was kind and gentle, welcomed me to the inner circle, making me feel at home. I was not confident playing the music I brought to the table, but Fester brought me along with easygoing encouragement and smile. And I told him that although I like bluegrass, I'd never played it, but he would have none of that. He just wanted to play whatever I brought, so I did. And he taught me new material, made me take my turn at lead guitar when I might not have wanted to, but I enjoyed every minute. In fact, there were some jams with Fester and the group which were among my all-time favorites. I would come home just as ecstatic after a Sunday night jam and marvel at how Fester drew us together as musicians and brought the group to a level that was hard to imagine. I thank Fester for allowing me to sit in his jams and learn, and will always think of him cradling his guitar, making it sing. It's not often that music has been a pure joy, because for some time it was my job. But many of those occasions for me occurred when Fester was at the helm. Thank you for your indulgence, and I hope you rest easy. Playing under a warm willow tonight, Craig Randall. Star McMullen. Anybody know Star? She's a world-class fiddler, and she's been a friend of Fester's for a long time. Now, she's told me some stories that I can't tell. But I did get a note from Star today, and she said that Fester was one of the first people I played with when I started fiddling, and I remember him crashing our camp at Weezer and playing with me on the other side. I ran into him a couple of years ago, and he invited me to come play a gig with him in a country club. No less, we had a blast. Always enjoyed seeing him, although it wasn't that often in the last few years. I'll miss him. Fester, how I will miss your laugh and your sense of humor. Laughing at the same joke every time as I told it to you over the years, and cracking you up when you told us yours. How I'll miss those chunky, walking, jazzy chords in my ear to nickel. Those inspired solos and that harmony playing. Your affirmations to other players during their solos. Most of all, I'm going to miss terribly that look of joy that came to your face when the music was just right. Your sister Margaret tells me you picked up a guitar and became obsessed. I wonder how many hours of music you played in your lifetime. You fought your demons often and paid a high price for them. Yet, you gave so much to the world anyway. You played for your supper in a geographical area where it's nearly impossible to survive doing so. Thank you, Fester. Star. I received emails from literally all over the United States. I'm not sure where this one came from, but it's Joseph. Is Joseph here tonight? Joseph? Joseph said Fester was inclusive at music jams. He gave me the courage to play music. I felt honored to play music with Fester. I'll miss his excellent guitar playing. Thank you, Fester, for the countless music jams. Joseph, thanks, Joe, or Joseph. Joseph Stark. Those who knew Fester knew he lived for two festivals. He lived for Weezer and he lived for Winfield. And I was at Winfield for a couple of years and hung with Fester and his crowd. I'll tell you, I could write a book. He had more. He knew everybody at Weezer. I mean, I thought I knew a lot of people. He knew everybody there. And one of his friends is Billy Joe Cummings, and this is what he writes. Let's go to Winfield. It's a great party. 1981, hot, late September. Bob says we'll camp all the way south and have the place to ourselves. Oh, no. There's an old station wagon with two hooligans exactly where we want to be. We decided to be obnoxious and run them off. We jumped out of my old Buick and loudly offered them a pull of the Lord Calvert, praise the Lord. Just about didn't get any back. Met Jim Reed and Eddie Banjo. Fester was a beacon to talent. He inspired us so much. Every year, we look forward to seeing him and hearing what he'd been working on. And it didn't matter to us if he won or lost. He was our flat picker. He brought several friends over the years, Boxcar, Lane, Jukebox Gene. We came to be friends with them all. His humor, we all look for and saved the raunchiest jokes through the year. And one night early in the festival had joke night. I can still hear his roar. One year it flooded and we camped right on the river. And the water had gone down 3 feet or so, but he was still rolling right along, carrying trees and trash. In the dark, we hear, "Oh shit," and knew it was Fester. He had walked off the bluff and fell in. That was the first year for his new Santa Cruz guitar. He managed to tune it up, pitch it up on the bank. Fester got soaked, the case got a little muddy, but the guitar was okay. Music, however, was out of the question. Joe Cummings. And this is from Dale Small. Is Dale here tonight?
He's over in prison. He has a group he plays music in prison.
Okay. Dale said, oh, that's right. He said, I'm not going to be able to attend the memorial. He's working prison ministry. And Dale, I know, was a huge help to Fester, especially this last struggle where he finally did get clean. And he said, I met Fester a few years ago at his Tuesday night jam sessions at the wine bar in Silverton. My wife and I regularly went there on date night. I was immediately impressed with the range and the depth of his musical knowledge. And gradually, I began to sit in with the group from time to time. Fester was amazing in his ability to merge together varying groups of musicians of different skills and styles. And even though he was rightfully proud of his knowledge and talent, he was always humble and respectful of the music and others' appreciation of it. Over time, we became good friends, often driving together to events. He would share stories and discuss the events of the day. And Fester was interested in gardening, and I helped him get containers and potting mix for his deck. He was particularly proud of his habanero peppers and had a bumper crop this year, although they were too hot for almost everyone else. Fester made a major difference in my life and opened doors for me, and I never knew were there. He encouraged me to try things I would never have done on my own. He was one of the best friends at the end, and his absence is something I will always feel, but his presence continues on. When I hear certain songs or whenever I touch my drums, I find that I miss him. I find I still have things I want to tell him, but I no longer have to wait for our next meeting, but can tell him right away because his spirit remains connected to mine. Bill Guida. Bill, would you stand up wherever you are? Bill Guida. Bill has been a seriously strong friend and mentor for Fester and for me, and has been a fixture at the jam session for a long time. And Bill's a banjo player, guitar player, plays a little bass, and he's really held Fester's hand on many, many occasions. And I thank Bill for that strength, because sometimes I would fall down and just walk away and go, I can't do this again. And Bill writes, to my friend Fester, the term, my musical mentor, is a very appropriate description of Fester Reed. Before our paths crossed about 10 years ago, I was a living room musician who was a little too shy to get out and experience the joy of playing with others. And after joining the jam at the Silverton Wooden Nickel, it was a steep learning curve from then on. From the beginning, he challenged me to learn other forms of acoustic music. All along the way, he gave me encouragement, positive feedback, and I quickly learned that it was possible to play other acoustical genres such as fiddle tunes, swing, classic country, and even Broadway standards. There was life after Scruggs and old folk songs. And over the last 10 years, he dragged me along to countless small gigs, and finally, some of that stage fright began to erode away from me. I think what thrilled me most, but oh my, challenged me the most, was getting into the world of fiddle tunes. He introduced me to Weezer, a wonderful world I didn't know existed. He taught me the appropriate keys, the song structure, the jam protocol, or whatever you call it. Often, but not often enough, he came by the house and we would practice and even exchange a few musical ideas. I would get out the digital recorder and he would record some obscure fiddle tunes for me, hornpipes, Irish tunes, etc., that I'd never heard of, and said, "Bill, you should learn this." So with several of these recordings, I would sit down, slow the song down on the computer, tab them out for banjo. But life was a struggle for Fester, and he couldn't spend enough time to practice as often as we would have liked. We seldom were able to find the time and circumstances to follow through on so many musical ideas. Those fiddle and jazz tunes he introduced me to, nobody else around here plays these gems that Fester learned in his youth. And friends who can play Little Rock Getaway, Stumbling, Lady Be Good, Woodchopper's Reel, Uncle Herman's Hornpipe, and Boys of the Blue are few and far between at jams. Amen to that. But I will try and get out the recordings and tabs and try to keep them and Fester fresh in my mind. Maybe another Fester will come along, but I doubt it. He was one of a kind. I will miss the jams, the gigs, and practicing, but most of all, I'll miss his friendship. And this last memorial that I'd like to read was from the love of his life. He never quit loving Liz. Fester, I'm grateful to you for your joyous enthusiasm of life. Childlike excitement about going on trips, cooking and eating food, holidays, new songs, new songbooks. I remember how excited you were about our vacations to Ireland and Mexico. Our trips to music festivals and jams were always filled with fun. I thank you for getting me excited about life. Silly, ridiculous sense of humor. Your giggle was infectious. Your jokes, often off color, really? But you were always ready to laugh wholeheartedly, and my favorite was the turtle and the snail joke. A child's joke, but told with such enthusiasm and glee every time. I thank you for giving me the giggles over and over. Wealth of knowledge of music and skill. A musician, Carl Rotman of aptly named you. I thank you for your endless patience while teaching me about music and music etiquette at jams, and for sharing so much and so many of the endless tunes that you had mastery over. Your childlike way of seeing the world was refreshing. Your ability for feeling joy was inevitable. Then there was the dark side of the child. I was envious of your happy child, but I watched you suffer with your dark child. You felt the negative emotions just as deeply as the positive ones. Frustration when things didn't go as you wanted. Disappointment when you felt let down. Deep ongoing grief over the loss of your parents. I guess you can't have one extreme without the other. You felt it all so much more deeply than I. I thank you for the fun and the loving times that you shared with me, and I understand you have no hard feelings for the tantrums and the dark times. You were my best friend, and still are my favorite ex-husband. Is there anyone else here who would like to talk about Fester? Bob, come on up, Bob. Bob Meyer, everyone. Bob's been a fixture at the River Jam for a long time as a harmonica player.
Thank you guys for coming. I don't want to go on too long, but I do want to say that Fester had a special place in my heart. I don't know where it came from or how he got there, but it was there. Thank you. You know, look at all these people that are here together because of it. Look at the music. Listen. He had something he wanted us to do. Guess what it was? Enjoy the music. Right? Am I right? Are we all enjoying it? Could not have happened without it. So I really thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. He'll be missed at my house every Sunday. He came to dinner since the day I met him. I met him on his birthday, and he was at my house that next week. So he will be missed every Sunday because, guess what? We went and did music there, and then we went with these fine people to go do it again. So he'll be sorely missed at my house and in my heart the rest of my days. And I'm sorry that he's gone.
Before we break out our instruments and play some tunes that Fester used to play as we celebrate his life, I gotta ask, Liz, in when was it? It was 2000. Was that about the time you guys got married? Fester came into my store in Stadium, and he'd been lusting for a guitar. And if I have the story right, I think it was your credit card. You're newly married, so he assumed that he could use that, and he bought that guitar. Did he ever pay you back for that?
There was a divorce settlement, so I'm sure.
Just saying, I wanted to get the story straight, that's all. Thank you folks for being here tonight. Thanks for being Fester's friend.